Hello, and welcome to the AI for Good Innovation Factory. My name is Josh Choi from the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, and I have the privilege of introducing today's Innovation Factory session. And firstly, let me introduce about the ITU. The ITU is the United Nations specialized agency for ICTs, and we are also the organizer of the AI for Good Global Summit alongside the XPRIZE Foundation in partnership with 38 UN sister agencies and co-convened with Switzerland. The Innovation Factory is a program launched last year under the flagship initiative AI for Good Global Summit. It is an online pitching platform to help startups grow and scale their innovative AI-powered and SDG-driven solutions by connecting them to potential business partners, investors, and governments, and big IT companies, and some more. For those who are seeking groundbreaking solutions from startups, it is an also excellent platform to explore opportunities to meet promising startups and ventures and collaborators. Okay, so now I'm very, very happy to kickstart today's session, which focuses on African AI startups and innovations. And we received 44 applications from 12 different African countries for today's session, which is really a great and amazing experience for us to review the whole different ideas, interesting innovations from all different startups. And I'm also so glad to introduce 5 finalists today. We have a fintech, agri-tech, and clean tech, insure-tech startups with very interesting ideas and business models. So I'm very, very excited to meet those great startups, also their founders today. I'm very pleased to introduce our partner for today's session, Mr. John Camara, who is a serial entrepreneur of several startups, and also he's an enthusiastic AI ecosystem builder, and he's also leading the AI Center of Excellence Africa. And also Mr. Nick Bradshaw, the CEO of AI Media based in South Africa. He's also managing AI Expo Africa, which is the largest business-focused artificial intelligence and robotics trade event in Africa. So let me firstly start with John. So John, can you turn on your camera and then turn on your microphone, and please tell us a little bit more about your activities in the field of AI in Africa, particularly from the AI Center of Excellence and some other entrepreneurship activities.
Thank you very much, Josh. My name is John Kamara. I'm the founder for the AI Center of Excellence in Nairobi. And the goal for us is really to demystify the use cases for AI and also help create the capacity that we need in Africa to actually train enough engineers to give the continent a head start also in the opportunity that artificial intelligence presents. So when we set up the AI Center of Excellence, having worked with Nick for the past number of years with the ITU as well, was really to see how do we, first of all, bridge the knowledge gap, because the knowledge economy is extremely important, which definitely means we can empower a lot more young people. Then two, the second part was how do we help startups also begin to use AI from day one into their data modeling, their databases, but ultimately also teach them about the ethical and biased nature of actually building AI tools within the product that they launch. And the third part was really in R&D, where we're now doing some deep tech work into research and some immersive technology around artificial intelligence across multiple sectors, from climate to agriculture to health and fintech as well. And within that, we then run the lab where we build incubation companies, about 13 that we have right now as well, most of them within the AI space. So really the first goal was to build capacity. So our objective is to train 6,000 AI engineers over the next 5 years. And we've just started training the first 50 who are graduating at the end of this month.
Great, thank you very much. And also, this is really great to hear your ambitious goal of really fostering innovation, particularly in the field of AI, by bringing up a lot of people to this innovative area. And thank you very much. And also, we will have another chance at the end of this session to have more details about the AI Center of Excellence and some other activities. And then we are also looking forward to it. And we have also a Nick here. So Nick's still here. Oh, thanks to God. Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about the AI media and also AI expert in Africa. And then there also introduce some of the great offers that you are preparing for the startups today.
Thanks, Josh. Hello, everybody. My name is Nick Bradshaw. I'm the CEO of AI Media. We're based in Cape Town, South Africa. We essentially run Africa's largest business-focused trade community. So we created this community we started doing the research in 2017 and we launched in 2018. Essentially, there was no AI-focused trade community on the continent. There were academic communities and research communities, a very vibrant academic and research community across the continent, but there wasn't a business community. So we essentially set that up. We also published Africa's first 4IR focused trade magazine, which is free to read, free to contribute to. And we also started work, myself and John, with the ITU in 2019 to begin to get more prominence of some of the AI applications and research and entrepreneurism that's happening on the continent with the ITU. And then we formed a partnership to actually collaborate more in a more integrated way. Obviously, COVID happened at that point as well, and we've moved into the online domain. And we've successfully run AI Expo Africa last year online, and we'll be doing it again this year. It's free to join, so we welcome everybody who's taking part today to join us in that community. We strongly believe that both the business and for good communities have a lot to share with each other, and we're really pleased to be supporting this project with the ITU today. We've also set up a deal room, which allows young entrepreneurs, young businesses to secure funding through investors which are already interested in investing in Africa and investing in AI-focused technologies. And we've created the deal room, which allows anyone to apply. It's a free service. We don't charge for it, but we're trying to connect you straight to investors that want to help grow your business. So we're looking forward to the pitches today and growing the ecosystem as a whole together.
Yeah, so Nick kindly offered the very interesting opportunity for the startups today. As he mentioned, the deal rooms. With the deal room, all the founders and CEOs of startups can actually apply and then get a chance to meet the potential investors. And also, the winner of today's session will be especially granted the one free of charge online booth, if I understand correctly, right, at the AI Expo Africa in September, which is also a very interesting opportunity for the startup to raise the visibility, also meet a lot of potential clients. So thank you very much for these opportunities again. And also the winner of this session also will be invited to the grand final of Innovation Factory in December, and also they will be invited to official investment process, which will be offered by one of our jury members who are basically venture capital. So we are really trying to help the startups to scale up and grow through the lot of networks and connection opportunities that we are going to provide. All right. Okay. So let's move on to the introduction to also our distinguished set of our judges today. So all our jury members are really big influencers and experts in the startup scene, and they are very, very passionate and also about accelerating the growth of startups who have a great potential of a social impact, particularly from the SDG perspective. And also the Mr. Nick Bradshaw, who was just introduced, will be also judged today as well. And then we have three more. So let's get the introduction and a welcome message from each of the judge. Let's first start with Ms. Melissa Sassi, who is Chief Penguin from IBM. And so, Melissa, can you tell us a little bit more about your title and your work at IBM, and so your role to foster entrepreneurship, particularly among the youth?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. My name is Melissa Sassi, and I am the Chief Penguin of IBM Z. So I created my own job title. I also created my own job 2 times over within IBM. I'm also a CEO and founder. So I like to call myself both an entrepreneur. So I run a scrappy startup inside of IBM. But I also have my own startup venture, as well as a nonprofit that's based out of Tunis, Tunisia, We teach young people to code and empower them with an entrepreneurial spirit. We have taught tens of thousands of young people to code in 12 countries, the majority of them being on the continent. It's all youth-led and youth-run. When I put on my IBM hat, I head up student and entrepreneur experience globally within the IBM Z division of IBM. And that means that I run a startup program when it comes to the entrepreneur segment of my work. It's called the Ibm Hyperprotect Accelerator. It's for fintech, health tech, and insurtech startups. I'm going to add a link into the chat window. We focus on startups that are less than $1 million in revenue, less than 5 years old, and dealing with sensitive data. And what I mean by sensitive data, that's personally identifiable information, such as financial transactions at, again, the individual level, healthcare records, insurance records, digital assets. So the kinds of stuff that you would want safe and secure. Startups in our program get up to $120,000 in cloud credits. They get 2 years of technical mentorship, 1 year of business mentorship. And the whole idea is, how can IBM and your startup go to market together, not just be a cloud vendor, but really think about, co-selling, co-marketing, gaining access to our network of customers and partners. I'll put my my Twitter handle, my LinkedIn, and also, as I mentioned, a link to that, to the application page. Applications are open until the end of June, so there still is time to apply in case you meet the criteria, and we'd love to hear from you. I'm going to add a couple of other links into the chat window. One is an accelerator page that I run within IBM that has a lot of blogs and information from founders. It mostly leans toward insurtech, fintech, and health tech, but would love for you to join it. We do a live stream every other Wednesday from 12 to 12:30 Eastern time, and in case that time is not convenient for you, we record all of the sessions. What we do is we invite CEOs and CTOs of startups to essentially come into our living room and have a chat with us. We spend 15 minutes on technical stuff, 15 minutes on business stuff, and yeah, I'm excited to hear your pitches, and thank you for having me, to the ITU and everyone who has been involved in AI for social good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melissa. And then it sounds like there are a lot of interesting opportunities between IBM and also innovative startups. So perhaps after this pitching session, I hope some of you guys also have a really actual opportunity to work with the various programs from IBM. Also have a very good connection with Melissa. Okay, let's move to the next guest judge, Mr. Omer Imtiazuddin, if I pronounce correctly your last name. Yeah, so he's the managing director of Finca Ventures. So Omer, can you also tell us about your work and organization, also about some impact investing and some of the major activities that you are performing?
Sure, thanks for that, Josh. Hi, everyone. I'm Omer Imtiazuddin. I'm the managing director for Finca Ventures. We're an early stage impact investing fund started by Finca International, which itself is a network of 20 microfinance institutions globally with roughly $800 million in assets and 3 million clients. And Finca Ventures itself is still relatively early stage. We have about $3 million under management, but are looking to ramp that up fairly exponentially. We have been, to date, a more generalist fund, but are pivoting a bit to actually start focusing on global health, agriculture, and financial inclusion. On the financial inclusion side, we've just started investing in December, but already have four companies in the portfolio. On a personal note, my own background is in both commercial finance and impact investing. I started my career in investment banking and venture capital in New York before making the shift towards the impact investing sector. and used to manage the health portfolio at Acumen Fund, also served as a senior advisor and chaired the investment committee at Grand Challenges Canada. And then just prior to I started actually in the middle of the pandemic in November, but prior to that was leading innovative finance for the Global Health Bureau at USAID. I'm very excited to be here. I will add my group at USAID actually published a report, Artificial Intelligence in Global Health, and we organized a panel for that. And one of the panelists made the claim that AI would dwarf every invention in the history of man combined. That was his claim, which upon asking some of the other panelists, they didn't necessarily echo that, but they thought about it hard and said, maybe it will come true. So I'm very excited to see what the startups have in store for us, and very happy to be a judge here. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you very much, Umar, for your kind introduction. And then also, again, yeah, I mean, the Finca Ventures is doing a lot of interesting programs for startups. So I hope also there'll be a lot of interesting opportunities and chances for the startups today to be connected with him and then explore further opportunities, particularly in the area of AI and also social impact as well. Okay, so thanks a lot again. And then we have the last one, Mr. Kayode Oyewole, who is the partner at the venture platform, which is the seed stage fund and accelerator in Africa. So Kayode, can you tell us a little bit more about your role at the venture platform and your company's key programs and some kind of short intro to your portfolio startups, if any, and any useful information for today's startups?
Thanks, Josh, and it's great connecting to everyone on the call. So my name is Kayode Oyewole, partner at Ventures Platform. We're an early stage fund out of Lagos, Nigeria, and we essentially invest in compelling founders solving some of the hardest problems on the African continent. We've been investing since 2016. Until date, we've invested in about 50 companies. A huge concentration of our portfolio, obviously, is in healthcare and financial technology. I guess the most obvious company, that we invested in is a company called Paystack, which was acquired by Stripe last year. Paystack essentially is a payment infrastructure company for businesses building on the internet in Africa. And yeah, they were acquired by Stripe last year. So essentially, our core thesis is around the concept of non-consumption, right? And essentially what that is a huge chunk of the African continent are cut off from essential products and services. So a huge chunk of the continent is underbanked or unbanked. Healthcare, access to quality healthcare is almost non-existent, right? So the way we think about it is we look for entrepreneurs, leveraging new technology or new business model to be able to deliver the essential services to the last mile. And essentially we back the sort of companies, right? So if you look at the sort of companies we're back, they're companies delivering quality healthcare service to the last mile, delivering financial service, investment product, savings product. And yeah, essentially looking forward to engaging with the companies on the call, and potentially also supporting some of the companies that would be, further strengthening the future of Africa by the nature of the product they're building.
Okay, thank you very much, Kayode, for your also introduction to yourself and then the venture platform. All right. So I mean, yeah, all sounds really exciting to me. I mean, there must be a lot of interesting future opportunities for all of us, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing it also in the near future during this year. Okay, so before moving on, I'd like to inform all the audience that there is a chat functionality, so everybody can leave some comments and questions. But please make sure to set the message recipient to all participants, all panelists and attendees, not just to all panelists, so that everybody can see. And you can select this just above the message box. All right, so let's move on to the pitching session now. Okay, so firstly, the Scrap-Paste Technologies will do their pitch. So we have the Boluwatif Arewa, who is the founder of scrap-based technologies. Yeah. Top, are you going to present pitching today?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah.
Best co-founder.
All right, great. Okay, so Scrap-based is a clean tech startup building a decentralized material recovery network driven by technology, finance, and recycling value additions. And Scrap-based help waste producers dispose their recyclable wastes with independent waste collectors, delivering convenience and reward in commissions on every kilogram on demand. Okay, so 5 minutes pitch from now, and then after the 10 minutes Q&A from the judges. Okay, so floor is yours, Top. So please share your screen as well. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see my screen as well? Hi, everyone. My name is Topper Sulaiman. I'm a skilled business analyst with over 5 years experience leveraging and analyzing data to help increase product bottom lines. I've served across 3 African markets while at this, Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. So how have you disposed your waste today? Which materials have you, which waste materials have you generated? On the side, over 3.4 billion tons of waste is what we will be generating by in the next decade. And this is up an outstanding 70% from the 2016 levels, right? Waste producers cannot dispose of their recycled materials effectively, even if they wanted to. That is compounding on the fact that developing nations only recycle about 10% of all of recycled materials that they produce. Also, waste producers in every urban population, 1% of every population survive by scavenging or running recyclable material businesses. Right? In Lagos, Nigeria alone, that is over 2 million businesses that is run collecting recycled materials. And these persons do it totally informally, collecting all sorts of recyclable materials, and 2/3 of the e-waste they collect are household materials, discarded household materials, from your ACs to old refrigerators and all of that. These materials are handled in conditions that are very, very dangerous to themselves and to the environment in itself. So what Scrap-based does is to connect waste producers, individuals and enterprise waste producers to these independent businesses, collectors and agents, to service and to collect the recycled materials that they produce. Our collectors collect materials only on request and are connected to agents that store materials temporarily, while everybody gets part of the revenue that is generated from sales of these recyclable materials. These independent businesses, collectors and agents, use a combination of an IoT device and mobile application. Our IoT device connects directly to the mobile app and takes the value of what is still from the IoT device and calculates what the pricing directly is on the mobile phone. Also, the mobile phone and application has an image recognition enabled so that bulky materials like this household materials I earlier spoke about can immediately be identified through our database using AI and ensure that the pricing compensation that is due for everybody within the network is immediately calculated on site. Our waste producers use USSD because we need to ensure that the product can serve across offline and online and across different income classes down to the lowest persons who are interested in collecting and participating in recycled materials. For the past 12 active months, we have been able to recover 252,000 kilograms of recycled materials off the streets of Lagos. We have generated $79,000 in revenue, and we currently service a total of about 2,000 customers, individuals, and enterprise customers within this time. Again, over the past 6 active months, we've been growing our recovered volume by an average of 25% month on month. Our business model is simple. We take an average of 30% of the sales revenue that comes in from all of the materials that we recover. Our platform allows individuals to host collection outlets, collect recyclable materials. This is essentially where our technology for AI is being used in collection of materials by our partners, and also to request for pickup through our USSD solution while everybody gets a revenue of the material, share of the revenue collected. So the material recovery market is very huge, recycling and all over the world. It's a very urgent need. And in developing nations where we are directly serving, the annual market is valued at about $100 billion US. But in Nigeria, where we're starting from, it's valued at $1 billion US, consuming about 1.3 million of the 3.4 that we're expected to be producing. But interestingly, this market only recovered less than 10% of all of the materials that it's supposed to recover, but also has the fastest growing rate in all developing nations, and only Southeast Asia compared, with about 291% growth over the next 3 decades. So while there are a lot of recycling companies and upcycling companies in the market today and in all developing nations, the problem is fundamental for all of them, and it is collection of these recyclable materials. Yeah, that's why we have been able to create a decentralized network that uses an online and offline technology to dispose recyclable materials in a single day. We have a team of 5 core persons with over 15 years experience combined, and we're raising $250,000 to facilitate CapEx expenditure and to improve on our IoT devices. Over the next 24 months, we'll be reaching 20,000 collectors within 5 major cities, collecting over 12 million recycled materials and facilitating payouts of $3.5 million US for participating in recycled materials. Why not join us today? Scrap does pay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Top, for your pitch and presentation. Okay, so could you stop the sharing the screen now here? And then, so now it's the Q&A time with the judges. So Melissa, Umar, Kayode, if Nick is still here. Yeah, who's going to start first? Melissa, do you want to start?
I'm happy to jump in. Yeah, so can you just share a little bit about how you've incorporated AI into your solution? I'm not sure if I caught that or if I accidentally missed it.
Okay, so what we've been able to do is to, especially for bulky materials and household items, because for all of the materials that we collect, we pay the producers an amount for the materials they're giving to us. But for composite materials and household materials, these materials need to be identified immediately on spot. So what we've been doing is to get AI to ensure that we can identify this material through the mobile application from the pictures that are taken from these materials. So it is run through our system and ensures that the material is matched directly to what it's supposed to be. And the cash compensation for the materials is given directly to the waste producers of this recycled material. So essentially, there are a lot of other applications that we're currently implementing, but that is what is currently available on our system. For example, we need to be able to identify different material types for all of our waste producers, because essentially, there are different solutions to identify metals, identify plastics, but there's no one uniform solution to see all of the materials that can be identified from one single platform.
And what is the accuracy level of the AI solution that you've implemented that will use a picture to identify what kind of materials it is, and what kind of challenges have you run into with your existing, algorithms or cloud solutions or whatever it is that you're using to bring that to life?
Okay, so currently the database is one of the things, because we know that we need to create a very robust database to be able to see that we can match what's currently what the pictures are taken on site. So we're currently still building the database, and we have limited amount resource on that database. But currently we have an accuracy level of about 55% for generally about all of the household materials that have been collected.
Okay, thank you.
A question from my side. I guess, how are you sourcing the material, and What's the ecosystem that you've built around that in terms of being able to both source and then recycle the material? And is it more of a B2C or B2B strategy?
Okay, thank you very much. So we're sourcing the materials by creating the actual network for collection, which is the collector and the agent network. So we realize that collection is a primary problem, and decentralization of the collection is what we're trying to do. That's why our platform allows individuals to be able to host. You can similarly call this to Airbnb for recycled materials, where you can have a space and keep materials temporarily. A lot of these materials are non-toxic, so you can keep them temporarily, while we also have collectors that can go from place to place, similar to a Uber driver, to collect recycled materials on request from the waste producers. So the network ensures that at every request from all of our waste producers, we can service them in less than a day that they make a request to dispose of their recyclable materials, right? So that's how the network is being built, and that's how collection, essentially what we focus on, is being handled, right? So it's a network for us, and the bigger the network is, we scale the network, we scale the technologies to identify these materials. We are also going to be able to scale across different places simultaneously. So with respect to the model, if we're using a B2B or a B2C model, we're using a B2B2C model because we have intermediaries who are independent businesses, while the collectors and the agents, they are independent businesses. So, and everybody gets the share of the revenue that is being generated.
Great, thanks.
Hi, Tope. Quick question. So on the value adding side, I'm just curious. I know I saw something around that on your slide. Beyond collecting the waste, do you add any additional value to the waste, or you essentially just pass them on to recyclers that then work with the waste, or do you do that yourself? And the second question, just a quick follow-up on Omar's previous question. On the infrastructure side, you talked about your model being Uber-like, so essentially you decentralize collection. But in terms of moving the items from the collection centers to wherever you're selling to, for the infrastructure that does that, is that also decentralized, or you own that? And if either way, how do you intend to scale that as you expand to more states?
Thank you very much, Kayode, for the question. So first off, I'll take the question one after the other so I can get it clearly. So first is value addition. How do we handle value addition? And the second is how do we handle the infrastructure that moves the materials from one place to the other? So for the value addition, currently, because the market has quite a lot of players, but not a lot of them can handle material, can process materials, right? And a lot of companies are also doing the process from end to end. So what we're currently doing, our model is to ensure that we also get partners that are going to process these materials for us. But currently, because we are still stimulating the market and ensuring that volume can be done, we're handling processing of the plastics, we're shredding, we're bagging, and then handling over to processing the manufacturing companies that use them. But as we scale, we're partnering with local individuals, and that's why we also are stimulating that part of the market, those people who are processing recycled materials. With respect to logistics as well, so the way we've done the collection logistics is that we're then now servicing the agents, because we're no longer servicing directly the waste producers. Our network already services the waste producers. So we're servicing the businesses who are registered with us as agents. So we're also partnering with logistics solutions to ensure that we can move this materials from place to place. Mind you, recycled materials are really bulky, so which means that not a lot of companies are ready to immediately take that on at this time. So as we're currently operational, we are handling logistics immediately as of now, but as we scale, we're also getting businesses that would handle all of that end-to-end processing and logistics for us to ensure that we can focus on our primary business, which is collection and building the network for collection.
That is
okay. Okay, Nick, do you have also questions?
Yeah, it's just one question around scaling. How do you plan to scale beyond your local, where you've launched your service so far? Like, let's say into other countries and then maybe into more regionally across the continent.
So Nick, for us, it's very simple, right? The goal for us is to build a network, and the network comes from individuals. So if you have a space for us, you can host a collection outlet, and people within your locality can also become collectors. right? Which means that collecting materials can immediately be decentralized and reach anywhere immediately. The more challenging part for us is the partnerships to facilitate the processing and the value addition for us, which is essentially why we're also immediately from the get-go getting the partners that will do the processing and add value to the materials. Across the entire value chain, we're giving revenue share to everybody that participates in recyclable materials. Our model is to take about 30% of that value that comes from it, while we share every other thing to people within the network. So we're scaling because we're people-centered. You give us the space to store the materials. You do the collection while we undo all of the collections and identifying of recyclable materials.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Okay, so if there is any more questions, okay, so let us close this first pitching. Thank you very much, Tom, for your presentation. And all the judges, you guys can fill the evaluation sheet for the script page now. Okay, so, and then also I shared the link of the finalist profile and the pitch deck just before in the chat room. So if you wanted to see their pitch decks of the startups more in detail while you are also watching as well, having question and answers with the startups, and you can refer to that information. All right. Okay. So thanks again. Okay. So let's move to the second pitch, which will be done by the No Query. Right. Okay. So No Query is a startup which uses natural language technology with the Ghanaian local language, which is called Twi, right? As to enable financial transactions that allows especially low literate and the low technical Africans to be part of the digital economy. And then today a pitch will be done by founder David Sampar.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So let me firstly check with the stopwatch here to make a clear timing. Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so you have 5 minutes, and then time is Q&A is the same. All right. Okay,
Sure.
floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome to African Language Technology by No Query Technologies Limited. My name is David Sampa. I'm a co-founder and the CEO. At No Query, we use African language technology to enable secure financial inclusion. The future is voice, and voice is the solution to illiteracy. Let me tell you why. Meet Auntie Amma. Don't be deceived by a smile. Auntie Amma cannot read or write basic English, so therefore she does not have a bank account. What she does have is a mobile money account, which is a dominant form of payment in Africa. Because she cannot read or write, she has memorized the sequence of the application. But unfortunately for her, the bank changed the order of their USSD application, which resulted in a wrong transaction. As I speak to you now, she's trying to retrieve that wrong transaction. So the next time she got the help of a friend by sharing a password and a PIN for a successful transaction. So she is happy, that's why she's smiling. But her friend is smiling more because now she knows the password and the PIN for Auntie Amma's mobile money account, which is a security concern that needs to be addressed. Illiteracy stands at 43% for female and 21% for male. Our solution is a voice transaction platform and a voice notification platform that can be integrated with any digital financial service platform to allow people to securely access digital financial services in the language of their choice. For smartphone users, we use WhatsApp. For feature phone, we use IVR, and we send SMS voice notification as well. Mobile money account users in Africa stand close to 400 million users, and these users are transacting about $28.6 billion annually, and this is a growing trend. Our direct competitor is USSD. Coupled with the technical issues for USSD is still English-centered, and a lot of illiteracy users are finding difficulty with it, and that poses the security breach where they depend on family and friends and other, and they also don't understand the notification, so they can verify whether the transaction they did is correct or not. And we believe voice is the solution, for this as well. In terms of revenue, we charge our partner financial institution commission for every customer that onboards onto our platform, as well as we take transaction fee for every transaction they perform on that platform. We have a functioning prototype. We have a partnership with a bank in Ghana, and this bank has got present in over 30 other African countries. April this year, we got a 50,000 grant to get more data sets on the Akan and the Gan language in Ghana, and this would increase the accuracy of our machine learning model. We're releasing our first platform December this year. We're asking for $100,000 as investment in equity, and this is going to 50% of this is going towards building the capacity of our engineers to maintain and expand the language that we cover beyond December 2021. But more importantly, we are looking for partnership within the financial service delivery, and we believe that this digital financial inclusion can be a collaboration between us, Nukwari, offering a voice solution that is in the language of is the native language, alongside the financial service provider, would be a successful collaboration. In terms of our impact towards the SDG, our solution is innovative and is going to bring a change into the industry in terms of natural language system in the local language in Africa. And this would empower local financial service providers to expand their reach and remove any inequality that illiteracy brings on board. This is the team. Few references. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, David, for your very timely presentation. This is exactly 4 minutes and 40 seconds. It's great. Wow. Thanks a lot. Okay, so let's start with the Q&A session from the judges. So who would like to jump on the first? Omar, you are turning your camera, so you're the first. Sure. Now.
Absolutely. I guess just in terms of the partnership with the bank in Ghana, so can you describe, how that's worked out? What level of, customers have you seen the number of accounts reached? And then is that something that I think you also mentioned they're in 30 other African countries? Is that something then that they're going to roll out across that network?
Right. Okay. We haven't actually rolled out our first products yet. We won a fintech challenge in Ghana, right? And this is the bank organized that fintech challenge, and based off that, we signed a partnership deal with this bank. And so we are working in collaboration with the bank to roll out this product in December 2021. And we believe that this bank has got over 40 million customers. So by default, these users would be our customers. Yeah.
I guess maybe just following up on that then, how do you expect to expand their number of customers because you're reaching a segment that they can't reach, or is it more making the transactions easier for the existing customers? And what's the
So we are B2B type of companies, and our target is mainly the financial service providers. And what we believe is that the current innovation towards digital financial inclusion is having a lot of shortfalls, right? So illiteracy is still a barrier, right? Security is still a barrier. And then giving the people the capability to sort of perform financial transaction in the language of their choice is a very powerful convenience, right? That we bring on board, as well as access to new markets that would have otherwise been a barrier for the financial service providers. And this is the solution that we bring to our partners, and they in turn, enroll all their customers on board.
Yeah. Okay, Kayode. Yeah.
Hi, David. A couple questions.
All right.
I'm curious as to why you're waiting till December to launch. Just curious around what are the constraints, The second is at launch, how many languages are you going to support? Right. And the third is, just to follow up on you mentioned the bank you're working with has about 40 million customers.
Yeah.
I reckon just a small portion of those customers would be part of your target audience in terms of people that want to, either transact in their local languages. So if you could just, share some more light around how you're thinking around, the market sizing and the size of the opportunity, that would be useful.
All right, sure. Thank you very much. So with the partnership that we signed with the bank, we've gone through some iterative processes until we sort of settled on a product, that the bank, sort of is satisfied with. And based on that timeline, December is the launch date, and that's why we are launching in December. So that's for that. Your second question, in terms of the language that we cover, by default, we assume that English is covered, right? Because there are a lot of English, systems out there that already have like high accuracy. So by default, English is covered. But then the local languages that we are starting in Ghana is the Ga local language in Ghana and the Akan local language in Ghana. Akan is the most dominant language in Ghana. So if you're in Ghana and you speak Akan, you can literally, interact with any other person you meet in Ghana. So that's why we selected that and then the Ghana. Now, in terms of growth, we're looking to, because based on conversation with them, we're going to expand beyond the shores of Ghana, definitely. So a lot of African countries are Francophone. So we have a list of languages that we're going to cover sector by sector as we grow. But then all these languages requires a lot of research into getting more data set and training the model to increase the accuracy of the machine model. So that's something that we are working hard. That's why we're asking for investment to also increase the capacity of our engineers, right? So this is how we sort of plan to scale as we target more financial service providers. We'll see the very dominant language in that region, and then we can, program for that in terms of expansion. I hope I've covered your questions.
Yeah, but just to quickly clarify, how does this work? How does this work? So is this sort of like a mobile app or a voice-based chat? How does this work?
So
how does it work?
So the bank doesn't have to change any system, anything that they have on their side. No, if a bank has got a mobile app, they've got any USS, that means they already have some APIs that they are using, right? What we are doing is providing some interface that allows for the customer to sort of send audio as the command, right? And then, so we use WhatsApp as a platform. So it's becoming a trend that all the financial service providers have got WhatsApp as a customer service option for their banking system, right? So WhatsApp is becoming dominant. So we use WhatsApp as one of our mediums. For non-smartphone users, we use IVR because you can dial a 3 digits number and just talk to the system. So any device that is capable of accepting audio inputs, we can integrate with that device, and we become sort of a middleman where we understand the audio that the user sent to us, and then we make the API call to the bank existing system. They don't necessarily have to change anything. And then once we get a success message, we can respond back to the user in the language that they understand. So we just plug in.
Just to clarify, sorry.
Right.
After this, I'm just gonna. So transaction authentication, how does that happen? Is that also voice-based?
No, so for authentication, usually the banks, so far, based on the way, the banks usually prefer to handle their own forms of authentication, right? So some would sort of send a USSD prompt for the user to put in the PIN. Some would redirect the user to the bank's own system for them to put that authentication. So depending on our interaction with the bank, the way the bank wants to, so far, all the banks that we've been talking to, they prefer to handle the authentications themselves. So that's the last piece.
How does that work, given that the users do not, your target users don't understand English? So if the bank decides to send the authentication PIN via USSD in English, how would that work?
So at that point, we'll send the user an audio message that, in the moment, in the local language, like in the moment, just in a few moments, you received a prompt on your phone, put in your PIN and then click, submit, all right? And then WhatsApp is not session-based. So whilst they are in there on the WhatsApp, the prompt will just pop up on their phone, they put in their PIN, they submit it, and then they continue the session instantly. right? So education is always, but because users do not understand some of the responses and the feedback, so we make sure that the user understands what is going on, right? And then we just, if it means redirecting to the bank's page for authentication, we sort of educate the user that this is what is about to happen at the moment, go off, come back, and the session is still live. It doesn't terminate us against USSD that terminates after 60 seconds.
Thanks.
All right.
Perhaps we can cover one more question. So maybe Melissa, Nick, if any of you have a question, yeah, please go ahead.
Just a quick question,
right.
David. Obviously, NLP and African languages is, I guess, an emerging field. Obviously most engines cover main languages English.
Yep.
The language, the West, if we call them the global North languages. Are you aware of the Masakane project that's happening in Africa, the NLP, NLG language research project?
Not fully, no.
I'll put a link in that publicly and to you directly in the chat, so that might be worth looking into.
All right.
And you say the first release will be using English.
No, it's not. It's English is default. Like we assume
it's
that
the default, right?
Yes, it's default. But then we'll be using the Akan language in Ghana, which is like spoken by all Ghanaians, as well as the Ghana language as well in Ghana. And
how complete is the language set for that to work?
Yeah, so that's why we have a $50,000 grant. All right, that is that we are using at the moment to collect more data sets on the Akan and then the Ghana language, and this we believe, as as we train our model, we're going to get higher accuracy before the December launch. Yes.
But as I say, that resource there may help accelerate some of the work you're doing for some other languages as well. So it might help you scale, but there's a lot of people working on it. So
and we're looking for partnership in different countries. So for instance, there's a colleague in Nigeria that's already done, this NLP in the some of the Nigerian local language. So when it comes to that, we just partner with them to make sure that we train our model to understand that language, and easily we can just migrate that fast. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that resource. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Okay. So Melissa, would you like to jump on with just a quick question?
My questions got answered, so I'm happy to roll forward. Thank you, though.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the judges, please put the score for no query. And thank you very much, David, for your presentation. Thanks a lot for your also the punctual, timely presentation. All right, so let's move to the third pitch from Mr. Harley Mascott, who is the founder and CEO of Curacao. Curacao is an insurtech startup which provides an innovative and end-to-end claims intelligence product suite for health insurers who want to speed up claims adjudication and reduce fraud and waste and abuse in claims management operations. So now stage is yours. Harley, please go ahead. You are muted. Okay.
Yeah, again, so that always happens as a mute. Please confirm that you can see my screen, please.
Yes, we can see your presentation. Everything's fine. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Henry Mascott. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Curacao. At Curacao, what we're really trying to do is to build infrastructure that helps drive the number of Africans who are currently uninsured. So currently that number is at less than 3%, and we believe there's a lot of growth that is yet to happen. And this is what drives us on the kind of problems we're solving. The first kind of like core product that we have, the problem we're really trying to solve is to help insurance companies. So currently on the continent, insurance companies are losing about $12 billion to fraudulent claims and things in a category called fraud, waste, and abuse, which is basically combining fraudulent claims with, wasteful claims, things that shouldn't be paid for, like abusive claims. So that number is around $12 billion right now. And then depending on sort of like the insurance vertical you look at, that's somewhere around like 15 to 25% of the gross written premium. As of 2020 or within the past 3 years, the gross written premium has been on the continent around $70 billion. So you take like 15 to 20% of that, and that starts to give you the magnitude of the loss. So this is the biggest problem that we're solving for our clients. Again, obviously, part of that also, that also leads to a lot of other smaller problems. Hospitals take a long time to get paid. And insurance companies, try to like spend as much time as possible trying to dig into the details to see, hey, is this hospital trying to be fraudulent? Is this policyholder trying to be fraudulent? So we combine all this thing, and the first sort of like our core product is a SaaS platform. That basically the value proposition where we're giving our insurance partners is up to 70% claims processing time, because we automate the claims processing using AI. And we also promised them, up to 25% reduction in the amount that they were previously losing to fraudulent claims. And again, for the hospitals on the platform, on the health business, it's mostly that you can get your payments much, much, much faster. So for how it works, so again, it's, we have a couple of products all linked together, from a collection platform where on the health product, hospitals log in, putting their claims, and then we do an automatic fraud detection on those claims. So we try to look at a couple of things, the enrollee, the tariff, the underwriting rules. So we basically have a couple of models all linked together, right? That tries to mimic, what a doctor would do, or what a nurse would do, or what a financial analyst or the other insurance company would do. So the claim comes in, we confirm you're the right person, we confirm the prices on the claim, we confirm, if it's the health claim or you have malaria, these are the items on that there, are they relevant? So we have a model that kind of like does that. On the auto product as well, so it's similar value proposition. We help them digitize the claims value chain, and then we use at this point, image recognition to be able to. So you take a picture, you upload the picture of your car. We're able to say, okay, this is the part that has issues, and we can automatically do. So we do damage classification and claim estimation for most of those claims. So you upload a claim. Before even like an adjudicator or claim adjuster looks at it, we can kind of like give the insurance company what the right prices are. And for some people, they look to automate that. So we build in the technology that would enable them. You submit your auto claim in this instance, and you automatically get a quote. So just for staying on the claims market, so it's the claims market is a $23 billion market. And then for the software, which is just claim software, and on the continent is 1.2 billion. And then the category is growing. We currently make money by charging a flat fee on each claim. So there's an initial integration fee we charge, when we integrate with you, but we also charge a flat fee each time a claim is processed. So for instance, if you're an insurance company and you're processing, 100 claims a day, so we're charging you that. If you're processing 10,000 claims a month, we're charging you somewhere between 40 cents and $1 per claim. So we do have competition. We do have people who do something similar in different ways. In the Nigerian market, or in sort of like in the sub-Saharan African market, you see people in the healthcare sector who provide what we call ERPs, which is a software that helps insurance companies manage their whole business. We don't consider them a direct competitor, but because they sell to insurance companies, we think that they'll compete somehow. But because our model is slightly different, it allows us to scale faster. Again, on the much more like a global stage, there are bigger companies who are doing this as well. So currently, this is our traction. So we're currently impacting about 2.8 million patient lives. We're currently powering 1,500 hospitals, 11 insurers in 3 countries. Currently about $400,000 in revenue. And we did a pre-seed round a couple of months ago. So moving forward, we're looking to obviously go into more countries, expand our products. That's it. Thank you very much. Henry Mascott.
Thank you very much, Holly, again for your also very timely presentation, which just takes less than 5 minutes. It's great. Thank you very much again. Okay, so Q&A. Firstly, can you stop the sharing screen here, Holly?
All
yeah.
right. Okay.
All right. Okay. So who'd like to jump on? Okay. So Melissa, please go in.
Yeah. So can you provide a little bit more detail about your growth strategy?
So we're software as a service, right? So we're basically able to scale very quickly across multiple markets without necessarily being in those markets. So our core growth strategy is to sell to insurance companies who have global or Pan-African presence or regional presence. So because our target market scale across emerging markets. So for instance, when we sell to AXA, we basically have the ability to, when we're successful in one of their markets, to ensuring our value proposition, we can basically follow them into all the markets where they're present. This is the strategy we're currently using. So we currently have AXA, we have Liberty Health. AXA is a global brand. Liberty Health as well is across about 14 countries on the continent. Old Mutual as well in 9 countries. So this is sort of like our strategy, our core growth strategy, to work with global and regional insurers. That way we're able to like scale. So again, because it's a software as a service, we're also able to deploy without necessarily being physically in those markets.
And can you talk a little bit about your traction to date?
Yeah, so like I said, so we currently have about 11 insurance companies in 3 markets. For our health business, that is connected to about eight insurers and about 1,500 hospitals. So what this means is that we have 1,500 hospitals who are currently using the portal to submit their claims to our insurance customers.
And how have you seen, when you talk about the insurance companies that might have multiple markets, how are you seeing, how are you kind of looking at your traction to date, and then how that correlates to the wider market that's available or addressable by you?
No, there's still a big gap, right? So again, all this kind of like we've done in the past like 18 to 24 months. So there's still a huge gap to sort of like cover. We're now starting to go from one of our first countries with a client to another country. So we're kind of like a bit early in terms of that, but still a large market. So currently if I take a few of our markets, so currently there are about 500-ish insurers across these markets, and we're in just about 10, so that's like less than 5% or so of that. So
and then what cloud solution are you using now?
What cloud solution? So we kind of like deploy. So for these products, we use from between SageMaker on the AWS and a couple of solutions on the cloud, on the Google Cloud. Yeah, so we kind of like, we distribute. So because we have multiple products and we do microservices, so we kind of like spread out to what is cost effective.
All right, cool. So if you're interested in applying for my program, I'd encourage you to apply.
Thank you. I will apply. I'll take a look at it. I see it's on the chat. I'll take a look.
Yeah, I think it might be a really interesting opportunity. And I have one last question. Can you just to make sure I heard things right, can you again review kind of how you're incorporating AI or machine learning or whatever into your solution again, just to make sure I didn't miss something?
Yeah, so because we have multiple products like across the stack, we're kind of like using AI in different places. For the health business, what we have is models that basically, when a claim comes in, analyze the details of the claim and try to determine whether the things there are the right thing. So for instance, for the one that checks diagnosis, is you look at the diagnosis and you try to make sure that the care items under that diagnosis are relevant. So if the claim says somebody has malaria, you make sure the items in there are relevant.
Got it.
It's slightly different as well.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. Those are all the questions I have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so Kayode, please go ahead. Your questions.
Hi, Henry. One quick question. On your presentation, I saw somewhere that you essentially charge insurers $15K USD for integration. I'm curious as to if you do that across all the insurers you work with,
No.
and if you reckon that has been a barrier to entry for some of the customers.
No, to be honest, we don't charge. So that's why it has the approximately sign. So it's so that amount. So currently we segment the insurers we work with across three sort of like segments or three profiles, and some of them are the big ones that are Pan-African. Some of them are national, and some of them are really small ones. So we're able to charge the big ones that are national and the Pan-African ones this amount of money. For the smaller ones, we charge a lower fee. We charge. We've charged as low as $2,000 for those smaller ones. So the integration fee, but again, the integration fee has a lot to do with the amount of work. So it's almost like consulting. It has to do with the amount of work that has. So for the smaller ones, we just bill them per hour. But for the big ones, we charge a chunk. So the profile changes depending on the pricing changes depending on the client profile.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay, Umar or Nick, if any one of you have questions, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I assume your primary client is the insurer, and they are then making the hospitals use the system. I guess just in terms of market potential, so from the way the model works, it's more on claims processed. It's not necessarily on amount of money saved to the insurance companies, if I gather correctly. But I guess, can you give us a sense of, what type of revenue projections you are looking at once you get more clients and the model matures?
So to be honest, right? So there's a model where we and we looked at those things in the beginning. So we still consider ourselves a bit early. In terms of like our revenue model, we suspect that we will retreat on it a couple of times. So there is a model where we actually charge them a percentage of amount saved as a matter of So there's a model, there's a feature where that is possible. Again, kind of like looking at how big the market is. We see that. So currently, like I said in our slide, the market is looking about $12 billion to lost revenue. And even if we're just able to save them 10% of that, and just take a cut of that, we put the amount we can make within the next 5 years at somewhere around 100 to 300 million. Even if we just take a percentage of a 10% that we save them. So when we've kind of like looked at the model in terms of when you save an insurer money, taking a percentage of that. Some insurers have that. We currently have that on pilot, but that is not like our main model because that one. So currently how our product is also divided is that we also offer fraud detection as a service through APIs without using our SaaS. So for those ones, we charge like that.
Okay. And then for the insurance companies, I guess, are they seeing enough success from it that they are planning on rolling it out across the different countries that they're in?
Yes, they are definitely. So, like I said, we're starting to see our first sort of like rollout. Like, so for instance, UAP Old Mutual is our first client in East Africa. And so we're starting in Uganda. We're now starting to plot scale to, South Sudan, Tanzania, Kenya, which is like their regional presence.
Okay. And then one final question for me. I think you mentioned the amount of claims that are fraudulent, but health insurance is a small part of that market, I imagine, because it's not that prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa. So I guess, do you think this can be applied across, property, in life insurance, etc., or is it specific to health and auto?
No, so we suspect that we will build our products for other verticals. So again, our thesis is to be able to build value proposition across the insurance vertical. So which is why when we have an insurance company that has all these stacks, we're able to like scale the product line, which is why product expansion is part of our roadmap.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, Nick, do you have any more questions?
No, I'm fine, guys. I guess the only more observation, I mean, there's some big, you mentioned Old Mutual, there's a lot of the big insurers and the insurers tied to the banks and the pure play insurers that, you know, based in Southern Africa. Have you got any market penetration in this region?
So by the way, Nick, that's exciting, right? Because we've been looking to start having conversations in South Africa. So maybe I'll reach out to you and see if there's any conversation that we can have around that market. I have lived in Cape Town for a bit, but I haven't. So we don't have any clients in South Africa. We have Old Mutual as a client, but obviously Old Mutual is South African, but we're currently working in the rest of Africa business. But we're currently exploring actually creating value propositions and solving the problem for them in South African market.
And then what about the competitive landscape? Because I mean, claims processing and, you know, where detecting fraud is, you know, there's quite a few vendors in that space. Have you done some market analysis to see who your competition might be in other parts of the African continent?
Yes. So like I said, in the rest of Africa, right, most sub-Saharan African markets is still quite nascent. It's still very early. Insurance companies are all trying to build this competence in-house, or like, you know, get a vendor and try to do things by themselves. You know, in more mature markets, they're very big players. Shift Technology just raised about $200 million 2 weeks ago and became like a $2 billion company or something. So in more mature markets, it's a very big market. So yeah, but we're kind of like you know, pioneering that category on the continent. So we suspect that in South Africa, you know, you probably have vendors from the US and from Europe also trying to get into that market.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we track quite closely. I mean, we do quite a lot of research on the local market. I mean, we've identified in excess of 700 AI-related companies in South Africa alone. So, you know, it is a competitive landscape, but the fact that you've got traction and you've already raised capital and you've got a working solution, you know, that the vendor proposition of, you know, do you bring it in-house and make it yourself with our help, or do you just buy our service? And maybe it's almost a bit of a gold rush at the moment, or, you know, it's a bit of a race for you to get in front of those customers. I mean, there's not many of them, essentially. I mean, if you look at the top banks and the top insurers and the health providers, you know, it's very easy to identify them. There's not, it's not like North America or Europe. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of potential. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. I'll reach out.
Sure.
And one last question from my side. I guess, what would you categorize as the impact, though? Is it just more from the social good perspective, I guess?
Yeah, so for us, right, like I started with, we kind of like why we think this is very important, right? So we think this is important because so insurance penetration is at 3%. Because of fraud and because of, like, you know, inefficiency, the cost for premiums cannot get low because the operating efficiency of these insurance companies stays fixed or keep going up. So what will happen is next year, as insurance companies keep increasing their premiums to adjust for losses. So we think this is why this problem has to be solved if we have any hope of, you know, having more affordable premiums and reaching more of excluded people.
I buy that, though, although I would be curious whether the insurance companies would lower the premium or say, you know what, this extra income is excellent for the bottom line.
But it's for their own good, though. It's for their own good to reach more people, right? It's for their own good. Yeah. All right. Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for also excellent presentation, Hallie, and also interesting Q&A session with the judges. So yeah, I'm pretty much enjoying all these questions and answers, the discussion, even debate between the people. It's great. Okay, so now let's move on to the fourth pitching from Elsmart. So Elsmart is provide a solution to empower farmers to perform better and act faster and make smarter decisions while leveraging on the AI-powered software application platform. So the founder and CEO, Ibm Hyperprotect, if I pronounce correctly. So it's your turn. Please go ahead in your presentation.
Thank you.
So Soji, you will be doing, okay.
Soji,
yeah. Okay, so please do so. Yeah, So yeah, please share your screen and then start your pitch deck.
Can you see my screen here?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. My name is Soji Soyalu, co-founder, Chief Vision Officer, SMART. With data intelligence, we empower farmers to perform better, act faster, and make smarter decisions. With over 1.2 billion people in Africa and $300 billion in food demand, combined with year-on-year decrease in crop yield, there is a problem of food security that will affect these 1.2 billion people on the continent. To solve this problem, SMART leverages on data collected from farmland across the continent using the following sources: satellite, drone, and soil level data. In the last 18 months, SMART has built amazing AI-powered application platform that serves as a point of aggregation of all the sources of data collected, where it is processed, where it is analyzed, and where we share intelligence with our customers. SMART business model is sharing actionable intelligence with farmers for a fee. We have identified agronomies as our indirect competition. Also, technology companies around the world. Our primary market is Africa. Agri-tech market to grow to $22.5 billion from $9 billion by 2025. Though a private profit-driven company, at SMART, we're driving the adoption of precision farming in Africa, leading to bountiful yield for farmers and its direct social impact of reduced food costs for the African people. Our go-to-market plan is shown on the slide. Management team. We are raising $1.5 million to hire new employees and scale up our infrastructure. Product story for SMART.
has grown to be a must-have tool for organizations and businesses of any size across all sectors. At SMART, our aim is to help businesses harness the power of drone and satellite data.
The value this brings to farmers is to help them notice and act on possible challenges before the time of yield and during the season of harvesting and planting.
In the next 5 years, I see SMART becoming a technology which people wouldn't be able to live without, because what we are trying to do is to take out the hard labor of things. So basically, we allow our users to just make use of our platform and automate a lot of things which would have been tasking and take a lot of time. So we'll basically be saving them time, we'll be saving them resources, and we're making their life easy.
I see us helping farmers and other industries in Nigeria, and also moving higher to taking over the whole of Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Soji, for your dynamic presentations, like recorded the pitch and then the video, demo, and interviews and everything. Okay, so let's move on to the Q&A session with the judges. So who would like to jump on first? Yes,
sure, Soji, thank you for that. I guess, can you speak a little bit about what your current traction is in terms of customers and where exactly the company is right now?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a good question. So at the moment, we are having 4 different enterprise-grade farmers in Nigeria. To give you the scale of these people, this is a combined total of 70,000 hectares of land in Nigeria, northern Nigeria and southwest of Nigeria. These are people we're dealing with. We've sent business proposal to them. We're interacting with them. They have used our service capability. They're happy and they requested for this. In terms of the number, the money we have on the pipeline for this year, this planting season, is in the region of $150,000 from these customers in question. We are making the effort to reach out to customers in Ghana. We've identified farmers in that space. We have our sales representative in Malawi, Southern Africa, helping us to spread the good word of SMART and precision farming in that space.
And can you speak a little bit about, based on sort of then these customers in Nigeria, what impact are they seeing in terms of sort of yield or any of the other measures that you mentioned?
Yeah, thank you. So the impact they are seeing, and we got reference from these customers. One of them referred to we've been able to save him the money that we would have spent on unwanted use of fertilizer. And so we're able to, with one of our service capability, to tell the farmer that for this type of crop you're planting, this is the component in your soil, and this is what we can see from the satellite. And by extension, we saved him money in what he would have spent on fertilizer. So that's some cost savings for him. And for the other farmer in Western Southwest Nigeria, for the first time, they saw what they had always guessed before. Actually, a distressed customer who had spent a lot of money to raise a crop, and they were struggling. And when they brought us in, they saw from the intelligence we shared with them first time, this is the root cause of our problem. So, and the chief agronomist, a PhD holder, clearly said, for sure, this is helpful. This will help us on our journey moving forward.
Thanks.
Okay, and next question is from Melissa, Nick, Hilde, any of you?
So, I know that there are many challenges associated with, agriculture in general. And I know there are many use cases for, precision agriculture and data. Can you just re-review what you think some of the top challenges that you're solving?
Okay, thank you. One of the challenges that we have identified and then we brought on board is plant disease recognition. And so talking to customer, they have faced this as a major problem. So they walk through their farmland and they see something showing on the leaf of the crops. They find it difficult to identify. So for us, we picked it up as a challenge. And as I speak here, we have a module that we started building, simply put, we're building arguably the first on the continent, a plant disease directory or database behind our ML service. And the goal is to have this on our mobile app so the farmer is able to just take a picture and feed that behind the scene, and then our AI service does that. So we identified that as a major problem. Also, one of the things that we've seen as a major problem that farmers are facing is, the data that speaks to them day in, day out, the temperature variation, the impact of climate change, meaning that some of the historical information that have relied on in the past are no longer like very reliable. We're able to now make them know precisely, you don't need to apply fertilizer today because by tomorrow, a machine will tell them there will be rainfall on this aspect of your farmland. And that we think is a useful information. Another thing, especially, and this is important, that we thought of talking to our customer on the continent is the farmland itself. People do not have the exact size of their farmland because it's too big. One of our customers has 50,000 hectares of land in southwest Nigeria. Practically difficult for them to go around, and the traditional survey system has failed. So we bring in our mapping service, for example, to help them for the first time, gather data from the drone, stitch them together with a mapping application, and they see for the first time the shape of their farmland, which helps them in planning the farm. And for the first time, they have a geotagged farm of a map of their farm, which helps them to know precisely where this farm is on the hard surface. I think some of these problems we have faced, we've seen talking to farmers so far in the country of Nigeria.
All right, good, thank you. That covers the questions that I had.
Okay, well, perhaps we can have one or two more questions. So maybe Nick and Cody, if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm still here. Power's still on. Yeah, the video that played, there was a map that was being built during the video presentation. Can you just talk about that? The product, I mean, was that just a demo, or is that how is that product in production?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a product in production as I speak to you. We call it Smart Mapper. So most of our products, we precede them with Smart, and then we call it the name. So it's called Smart Mapper, simply a mapping service that runs on a GPU capable machine. So the flow is we capture data with our drone commodity vehicle through the farmland, and then with our mobile application that does the command and control for the drone, which helps us to make the images to overlap. And then we feed this to our Smart Mapper, our mapping service. Simply, we feed this into the Smart Mapper, which runs out in the cloud. And while I'm talking about that, we got accepted into NVIDIA Inception program, where we were giving $25,000 credit to use AWS. So this service runs in AWS, to be precise, and the GPU capable machine, and does those crunching, stitch the image together, and then we have a geotagged image that is produced. So the part that I eliminated from that video is the original image because of the time that was captured by the drone, and then the output is what you saw, and then from that image we could produce 2D, 3D. From that same image, we're able to generate plant health that is available on that farmland. And so for the first time, the farmer is able to see the health of his farm, of the crops, be it in spectral mode, RGBA, and all the various NDVI, the vegetation indexes that are available using that platform. So to your question, Nick, this demo that I shared is in production as I speak to you.
And then how many models or AI, how many algorithms have you got in there that then are processing, you know, disease or fruit or crops? Or have you, I mean, just simply, how many models have you developed so far on that production platform?
So as I speak to you, we have the capability to plant, use plant count, weed count, plant canopy, and then the plant canopy. And the one that we're currently working on is the plant disease that I talked about, right. Which we started in January. So far, so good, working well. The goal is simple. All these platforms, so we have in the last 17 months built this application platform, and on the long run, we are able to expose this platform via API to anywhere around the world to leverage an application platform. So, and
then are you aware of a company in Southern Africa called Air Robotics?
Yes, if you saw my slide, I called them out. It's on my slide as competition. Robotics based in Africa, and they also operate out of the US and other competition. I took time to check them out, doing fantastic job. What I have observed, we're African focused as a company, and then we are driving this adoption of all these things that have been around. So the platform becomes an aggregator or aggregation platform that, you know, brings together all these data points, and that gives intelligence to the people. To your question, yes, I know about robotics, and we'll call that too on the slide as competition.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sergio.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so given limited time, so I think that we have finished here for SMAT presentation, and thanks Sergio again for your excellent presentation, also detailed explanations and answers to the questions from the judges. Okay.
Thank you.
There are some also questions from the audience. So, for example, there is a question to the Curacao, and also there's an inquiry from one of the audience to get the contact from No Query. So please check all the chat rooms, and then if you need to answer, please answer to those questions from the audience as well. Okay. All right. So in the meantime, also again, judges, please put the scores for SMAT. Right. Okay. So now let's move to the final pitching from Casbana. So the CEO of Casbana, the Hedam Anase, is here. So thank you very much for waiting for such a long time. Thanks a lot. Okay. Thanks for your patience. All right. So are you ready?
Yes. Thank you, Josh. So as I'm the last one, and I think we are running out of time. So let me
no worries.
No. Let me share the story, and I already shared the deck over email. So let me share the story, and I think it will be more better to have some time for questions. So what is Casbana? Casbana, we like to tell that we are backed by community and banked by trust to build the financial identity for the unbanked segment in the emerging economies. So we are a data science company trying to build the financial identity for the unbanked. Why we are backed by community and banked by trust, I'll come to that later. However, let me start with some background about Egypt. So in Egypt, we have a huge gap in terms of financial inclusion. The majority are excluded from the financial service. The Central Bank of Egypt reports that the unbanked segment, the unmet financing for the micro and nano enterprises is around 1 trillion Egyptian pound per year. And the current banking system only covers from 2 to 4% from the needed financing for the micro and nano enterprises. And for the individuals, the credit card holders are 3 million out of 110. And again, this figure is almost flat over the past 5 years. So with unmet financing of 1 trillion Egyptian pound and this huge gap in the individual financing, we have 30% of our population still living under the national poverty line. So when people have more access, which is a basic human right, have more access to finance, they are better able to expand their business, to start their business, to invest in their education, to mitigate risk. So that's what we're trying to build. What is the root cause of this gap? The root cause is to get the access to financial service, you must go through a collateral-based scoring system. Collateral means for the micro and nano enterprises, you must have a commercial registration and tax card and financials, historical financials. And for the individuals, you must have a proof of your monthly income from a registered company already. And this is happening in Egypt, where the shadow economy or the unofficial economy is larger than the official economy. It's a double or triple the official economy. So the banks are in position to meet the capital needs of the underserved. That's why Kasbana is here. Kasbana is trying to build the financial identity without collaterals, using an alternative data, using a behavioral scoring system. To build a behavioral scoring system, we need two types of data. The first one is to get access to social data of our customers. This is the first one. The second one is to make them run some sort of financial transaction using our app to start measuring the repaying behavior of the customers. So by getting the data of the social data and the repaying behavior, we can find some pattern for the credit scoring for our customers. So once the customer download our app, they must go through a sign-up process, grant us access to some data points on their smartphone, and we're running them through a fraud engine. And after that, they got a limit, which is a virtual limit. So here is the problem with the community and the trust. Why we're telling that we are backed by community? To build the machine learning, it requires a lot of data to find the patterns. However, we don't have still the data and we don't have the collaterals. So here we are at some sort of blind lending phase. So here we depend on the network pressure, which was the core fundamental of the microfinancing when we started decades ago in Asia. So we depend heavily on network pressure. So we opted for the supply chain financing. What is supply chain financing? We are at the last mile of supply chain financing, dealing with the aggregators. Who is the aggregator? The aggregator is some sort of wholesale, very small wholesalers running a warehouse where tens of delivery agents in a specific zone serving delivering the product and selling the products for the retailers in the same zone. However, the pain point of this aggregator is 60% of their requests asking for product on credit. And they are running a very tight margin, from 2 to 3% margin. They can't sell on credit. Otherwise, they have to go to the banks to raise working capital. And actually, also the aggregators doesn't have collaterals to raise working capital. So we're dealing with the aggregators to use the community powers, the network pressure. So we're contracting with the aggregators. If one of the retailers asks to get the product on credit, we ask the retailer to download Kasbana app to grant us the access, and they run some sort of peer-to-peer transaction for the retailers to confirm that he delivered that he got the product from the aggregator. And once the transaction is done, I'm paying the aggregator on the spot. So it's a cash transaction for the aggregator. However, now we have a community, we have a network on the transaction. So because the tendency of anyone to fraud or to default on a dummy corporate is very high, but he can't do that with someone who deals on a daily basis like the aggregator. So using the pain point of the aggregator, we're able to acquire the retailers, which is our main customer, the borrower. Why we are banked by trust? Because the credit card or the finance, it's some sort of credit card. We're giving a virtual limit. You can use your limit to buy product for your business. However, it's a powerful tool, but it's a very risky tool as well. So getting the access to financing is a dream of a better life, but it might turn into a nightmare without financial literacy. So we're designing our product to be to embed the financial literacy, because the financial literacy is not about giving lecture or giving some informative ads. It's about the systems, the ecosystem. So we designed our product to be around the financial literacy. We need you to pay in full every month. So it's a very small ticket, very small, very short working capital loan just to get products on credit. it's because we need to liberate the unbanked segment. We don't want to get more trapped. So what we have done so far, we've raised an equity round of $1.4 million. We have now a network of 70 aggregators across Egypt in 14 cities across Egypt. We have a network of 4,000 retailers with zero marketing costs, because we're acquiring the retailers through the aggregators, and our default rate so far is 1.4%. So we have a proven of our model, and the challenge now is to scale it more, to get more data to our algorithm, to start find more solid patterns. So we're opening the new equity round next July. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's really amazing to see your really fast growth for just the last 1 year, from the very early stage of now it's going to Series A and B. All right.
Actually, we launched it in August 2020 with just one aggregator. Now we are across Egypt, everywhere.
Great, excellent, cool. Okay, so perhaps our judges also have more questions to know more about your business model and the future growth strategy, and etc. So who would like to jump on first? Perhaps Kayode? No? Oh yes,
I can start.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. I guess just in terms of the actual working capital loans, who is providing that? Is that your company, or you've partnered with other financial institutions to facilitate that, and you're providing them the data that makes them willing to do it?
No, actually, we're still building the algorithm. So we still have the risk on our balance sheet. So it's from our balance sheet, from our equity, and we are on ongoing process to raise more debt from local banks here in Egypt, factoring companies in Egypt, and impact funds as well. So we've raised $1.4 million equity, mainly for the engineering and data science team, and we've raised another $4 million for that to fuel our operations.
Okay, got it.
Okay, any more questions from Melissa, Nick, and Kayode? Yes, please go on, Kayode.
Yeah, hi, Aitam. So quick question. So today you're facilitating access to credit for this underserved people. What does the product look like tomorrow? What's the product roadmap like? What's the vision of the product?
Yes. So actually, our core product is to build the financial identity. So we have two ways on a strategic perspective: either to offer financing by ourselves using our product to get the interest rate and maybe expand in other verticals like insurance, like payment. However, as long as we are not a bank, as long as we're not getting deposits, there will be always a limitation for raising that. So after having the solid product of the algorithm, we have two strategic options: either having a license to be a digital bank and to start getting deposits to run the financing by ourselves, or offering the scoring as a service to any financial institution. Actually, not just financial institution, any institution with excess cash to run any financial transaction. So it will come after 2 years, after having a solid algorithm and after exploring the regulatory landscape here.
Got it, thanks.
Yeah.
It seems like, Omar, you have additional question.
Just, I guess, on your scale up and expansion, I guess, are you considering that it would just be Egypt, or are you looking at more countries than that? And what's the timeline?
No, we're looking for more countries, but with similar market conditions and with similarity in the culture background, like Sudan, like Libya, maybe like Iraq in the Middle East. So we're looking for expansion, but I think not this year, the next year.
Okay.
Okay, we still have kind of 5 minutes or something. So yeah, enough time for Melissa and Nick to ask some questions.
I'm good. I got my questions answered.
Cool, excellent. What about Nick?
Hi guys. No, I'm fine. I've got the deck as well, so thanks a lot.
Okay, yeah. So Adam, I think your presentation covers all the questions and then from the judges. So and also a very compact session with the shortened time of your presentation, also Q&A. Thanks a lot for your time management.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So basically all the pitching session was finished. And then I just sent the calendar invite to all the judges just before in the email with the Google Meet link. So you guys can go there and have a separate discussion. So please make sure you turn off the microphone and video here in Zoom and then have a separate discussion in a Google Meet to finalize the result. Of course, there is a total average score of all these 4 startups, accumulating the scores from each judges. Here you can see the set, but perhaps you need some kind of discussion to make sure that all the result is satisfactory to everyone.
Quick question, yes. Josh. Where is that link for the Google meeting?
If you click the thing and then you can see the join Google Meet or something. I send an email.
When you say click the thing, where is the thing? Sorry.
All right. Okay.
Where is that link? Because is it in the WhatsApp chat we're in, or?
No. I send an invite to your email.
Right.
So, hey guys, it's Melissa. I unfortunately didn't have the 30 minutes on my calendar, but all my scores are in, and I don't have any other, kind of. Changes from that. So I think I'm fine with going what's automatically, calculating. I don't want to skip it, but I'm supposed to be in another meeting and I got an extra 15 minutes since I didn't have this extra session on my calendar. Is that okay?
Okay, right. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And sorry for the confusion.
That's fine. It's fine. Yeah. All right. So, let me share the link again to our judges, just in case. All right.
So getting some feedback there.
Yeah. Okay, so while our judges are having the separate discussion, John, perhaps can you do some kind of a short introduction to your initiative in AI and everything for just around 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, thanks very much, Josh. Quite an interesting number of startups as well, and wishing all of them well, and congrats to each one of them as well, just to say that. So back to what we do. The AI Center of Excellence, the idea, again, as we said, is to demystify the knowledge base, first of all, of AI and find enough ways to create more AI engineers. So what we basically do is we take data scientists and Python engineers, and then we put them through a 5-month crash course, and then we turn them into junior engineers, which is basically around the proof of work. So we literally just put them through work programs where they actually learn. So we cut away all the theory, because what we realized when we were trying to look for AI engineers, we were based in Kenya and East Africa, it was very hard to find anyone. You found a couple of data scientists, but then we couldn't really find a lot of AI engineers, and we then obviously understood that became a really big problem for the market. While we're talking about, yes, the growth of AI, startups using AI, but if really there are no AI engineers that can actually do this work, then that becomes a real problem. So one of our mission is to train 6,000 AI engineers across 10 different markets in Africa. So we're here today in Zambia as well, actually. We're launching the AI Center of Excellence as well in Zambia, what we've just done in Kenya, Nigeria, We're now in South Africa, and we're also going to be in Uganda as well. And by the end of this year, we should have probably trained close to 600 AI engineers through the program. And the beautiful thing about it, we actually are getting like a lot of work for them right off the bat, which means we're also bringing foreign direct investment into all these countries through, the knowledge economy. And off the back of that, we can actually build AI-driven startups that really have the technique and the skills to participate in deep technology and smart technology to create real innovations that could change a number of these sectors that we're talking about. For example, climate change. It's one sector that we're really interested in what we do in R&D. And for us, it's really, really important that can we really get AI engineers who can actually participate in developing solutions around climate change for the marine economy, for the smart economy as well too. As well, as much as we create all this data and we're using it, but really can we build models that actually will transform the data into, living protocols that people can actually use to create new value for themselves in this same shared economy that we're talking about. So, and that's kind of what we are looking at, and to create enough people in that economy. The third part is really then R&D. So what we've also realized, I grew up in Ireland, so was there's not a lot of R&D centers in Africa that really focus on deep technology, where you actually allow people to create IPs that could work, or IPs that could change or transform specific sectors, rather than just being about commercial value on day one. So one of the things we're also doing as we're training these engineers, we're building R&D labs where, we take a problem statement, a problem area, and we begin to find deep technology solutions using artificial intelligence and machine learning in those spaces. And we've been lucky to partner with quite a number of universities in Kenya, a number of the big companies as well in that space, and quite a number of our organizations, ICU, Innovation Factory, to see how do we achieve this goal. If you put it in quotes, if you train 6,000 AI engineers or even 1,000 AI engineers in one specific country, you could almost bring in over $2.7 billion in FDI into that country, just by the proof of value of those people, the amount of AI-driven startups you can create, and some of the IPs that you can actually solve. So that is what the AI Center of Excellence really stands for. And that is what we're doing to transform the AI landscape in Africa. So what we've achieved so far since we launched in September in partnership with AI Commons and a couple of other partners is to train the first 40 AI engineers who are graduating, and all of them, again, the proof of work. We found work for all of them. And now we're going into our next cohort across 6 different countries. So we are also helping startups also look at their, what they consider to be artificial intelligence in their businesses, to really make sure that it actually does exist on day one. And also how do you build your databases? How do you make sure that even the models you want to create are not very biased? So one of the things we're also doing for corporates as well is providing them with services in machine learning, but helping them to understand the ethical nature of AI, and also using that to create models that make sense in the new economy that we live in. So that is what the AI Center of Excellence, and we're lucky to be part of Ada Lab, which is our incubation lab, where we're incubating startups, the first incubator that does a 12-month program in the whole of Africa. So we basically house our own companies for 12 months, and we handhold them until they actually become fully blown businesses. So around the idea of the camel theory, which is our model, you don't need money until you really, really need it. Can we build businesses that can actually scale with very, very, very little, and then use models around AI to also help them transform their business as well? So that's what we're doing here since we started last year in 2020 during COVID, and we, partnering with our AI media and a number of different partners as well, has given us the scale to actually launch 11 startups right now within 1 year. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. It's very useful information for us to know about the about the AI landscape in the African and what you want to achieve. That's great. So actually, our judge members are discussing very seriously, and then they still are in the discussion for now, but I think they will be finishing quite soon. So just to make a little bit time, firstly, thank you very much to all the startups today for your participation and your patience to wait for your turn. And also, well, it was really actually challenging, to be honest, for us to select 5 finalists from 44 different applications, because all the applications were so interesting. They have their own very specific, unique ideas. And then also, in addition to this 5 finalists, also we have the other 5 the candidates who are not actually selected today, but also still great. So actually, we don't want to just make Innovation Factory stay as just a simple online monthly pitching platform to to give just the pitching opportunity for you guys. Rather, we wanted to leverage this opportunity to keep moving on, so that we can also provide a lot of additional opportunity for you guys to connect with the any potential business partners, particularly within the United Nations systems, and also governments and some other big IT tech. We're basically leveraging the networks that we have, and also there are several interesting offers and benefits that some of our jury members are going to provide, particularly from the venture capitalist who is always interested in the investing in promising startups, also making deals as well. So please stay tuned. Okay. So basically, we for the finalists today, and I'm going to keep in touch with you guys and have another closed session to hear more about your business plan in detail, and so help you guys explore further the business opportunities, as I mentioned before, including some of the speaking opportunity at one of the also the ITU and AI for Good webinars. And so we are also preparing for some other so interesting opportunities as well. Okay, so for the attendees, we are opening now a quick poll with 1 question. So please answer and let us know how much you like this session. So yes, yeah. So now it's policy here. So host and panelists cannot vote. So the old startups, you guys can't do it. Only the attendees and audience can do it. So top score is 10, blah, 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 and then the lowest score is 1. All right. Okay, so I think the decision was made, right? Okay, so the Coyote and Umar and Nick, can you guys open the camera and the microphone? And so who's going to announce the result? Did you guys make a decision? Okay, all right. So
well, it was a decision made for me. I was volunteered by Omar, so I accepted graciously.
All right, so this is the most exciting moment I always have been looking for. All right, okay, so please go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, thanks everybody. It's been a great session to hear such diverse submissions. I know there were a whole bunch of other submissions as well, and congratulations to everybody that took part. Obviously, in terms of the top 5, I've aggregated the scores just so everybody knows. We scored them individually, and then we obviously looked at the totals, and the winner was Curacao, followed by Caspana, and then the SMAT was 3rd, with Nockwari 4th and ScrapPays 5th. So that was the judges' scoring and ranking. So congratulations to Curacao. And we also, as part of our partnership with the ITU, look forward to welcoming you to AI Expo Africa in September. So congratulations to the team. And obviously the other members that took part, please join us as delegates, and anybody else on the session today, please join us at AI Expo Africa in September and get to meet a whole bunch of interesting companies, big and small, new programs that you can join. And again, thanks to everybody for taking part, and ITU for putting this program together, myself and John, I've been working with Fred and the team for the last 18 months and talking about greater engagement with the African continent, and I'm glad we've achieved that. This is a big step forward. So thanks, Josh and the team at the ITU, and also to the fellow panelists today for joining and taking part. And also thank you to Telkom for the 4G connection I've been connecting with. It's held out better than the power here in South Africa. So glad I made it all the way through to the end.
Yeah, particularly I'm very happy to you make it today until the end. It was there is a big challenge. Thank you very much. Okay, so Curacao, Henley, do you want to say something? Of course, we would like to hear from you.
No, thank you very much. I'm grateful. Obviously, I'm happy to come up as the winner of this competition. I look forward to obviously working with some of the partners on this show on this program to grow our business. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Well, as just Nick said, and all the 5 panelists were a really great team, we believe. And of course, there will be also a lot of interesting opportunities in the future, I believe. And then also we definitely will do our best to also help you guys scale up and to grow into all the different fields and by connecting and networking with all the different potential business partners. So we are open to hear from you guys and from now on. So thank you very much. And then maybe really last words from perhaps our jury today, if you have, Omar, Khaled.
Sure. No, it was great being part of this, and as Nick said, hearing sort of the diverse, business models that came out through the companies. We wish all of the sort of finalists, good luck, as well as everyone else who submitted, and definitely with some of them, I think would be interested, in fact, in even reaching out and seeing if there's further connections to be made. So, and thank you, Josh, for setting up this event as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess thanks, Josh and the team. It was great just spending time with the founders and just listening to their pitches. I think, they're a bunch of compelling companies, and wish them the best as they keep building out their product. Obviously, I'll reach out to a few of them. I think there are potential discussions we can have. Interestingly, I probably have interacted with half of the founders pitching today, so listening to their pitches is like me hearing it all over again. But yeah, it was great to connect again. Thanks everyone, and great job from everyone that pitched. I think the products being built have compelling value, and I look forward to you guys scaling your solutions across Africa and potentially across the world.
Thank you very much. All right, so next Innovation Factory is to be held on the 30th June, just 1 month later, and then the application is open to all kinds of startups using AI to make an impact, especially social impact, and also help achieve their SDGs. So stay tuned with us, and we hope to see you again next time. So thank you very much for watching the session until the end, and then also good luck to all participants today, the finalists, and then we look forward to meeting you again in the future occasions. Have a lovely day or sweet dreams for some of you in nighttime. Thank you very much. Take care. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Selector, rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector.